Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Bitter Upper Lip. As always, I'm your host, Tyler. Very happy that you're joining me today, specifically because it's another special day. As if you watch my previous video, fall weather is the best drinking weather for me. And today we're actually going to be reviewing a beer style that is one of my all-time favorite beer styles. And that would be the one of the Oktoberfest, as most people know it. But more specifically the Märzen, which translates to March in German. So one of many Oktoberfest and Märzens I'm hoping to review here in the coming weeks, but I thought out today, let's go ahead and start with one that has essentially become one of my seminal favorites for the season. So we're going to be reviewing today Sierra Nevada's Straight Up Oktoberfest. So this particular Märzen comes in at 6% ABV, so nice and sessionable. Also has nice low IBUs at 28. Pretty much straight up lager yeast. This particular variant was made with Splater and Splater Select hops, a whole array of German-centric type malts as well. So Sierra Nevada going out of their way to make a very on-point, culturally accurate representation of the style. What's really cool about Sierra Nevada's take on Oktoberfest, probably starting about 4 to 5 years ago, was Oktoberfest started with Sierra Nevada as a project for Sierra Nevada to essentially do collaborations with very small German breweries, usually more centric toward families, small independent local German breweries. They did do one year with Weichstefaner, which of course is, a big powerhouse in German brewing. They're technically the oldest brewer in the world. But following that, every single year that Sierra Nevada put out one of these Oktoberfests, it was essentially like a brand new take on the style. Basically, the collaboration of Sierra Nevada's brew staff with these small independent German breweries. So what was really cool is it was essentially like a different beer every year, as much as you can do within the Märzen style. Which also kind of made it bittersweet too, because in the particular year, if you just absolutely loved that style, you had to drink as much as you could because it was going to be gone come the end of the season. And I thought it was really cool too because it obviously highlighted a lot of German breweries I had never even heard of because they were pretty much old school local breweries. And was a good effort, I think, for these local small breweries to get some support because apparently in Germany there has been a decline in a lot of more traditional styles of brewing going on, especially these small, very traditional local breweries. Well, obviously 2020 being the year that it is, need we say more, COVID put a huge damper on Sierra Nevada being able to do that. So this is the first year that they have done Oktoberfest where, to my knowledge, it's just straight up done by Sierra Nevada. They unfortunately didn't do any collaboration. That being said, I have had this. It is very good. It's still a quality beer. And if you are a fan of Märzens and just happen to pick this up yet, I would definitely recommend you do it. This particular style of Märzen is a lighter variant on the style. Most people call it Fest beer. Even though it's still classified as a Märzen, it looks much more like a lighter golden color type Märzen. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this in the glass and see what it's about. This particular Märzen was bottled on the 31st of July, so it's just under 3 months old, so still good. All right. So, yeah, it looks great in the glass. First thing I'm noticing isn't even really the head. It's like all the bubbles coming off the bottom. Very, very beautifully carbonated beer. Looks alive. Look like it's ready for a party because it is a party beer. Head actually has nice tight bubbles, dissipating at a nice rate. Kind of an off-white, little bit more brown than like an eggshell, but around that color. So pretty much perfectly see-through, nice golden yellow, a little bit of orange mixed in, as you can see. Kind of really looks like apple juice in the glass. So let's get a whiff on it. Yeah, so those just real big toasty cereal notes that you would expect from a lager. Very crackery smelling. It's very light on the toastiness, so I'm not getting any kind of, I guess, the deeper, richer toastiness. It's very, very light. Yeah, there's almost like a fresh baked bread take on it a little bit. Get a little bit of hop presence out of it, but not really pulling much, which is to be expected out of a German-centric lager. There is a slight kind of fruity smell I'm getting on of it, like a very kind of light blueberry smell almost, but it's very, very faint. But there is that kind of very, very light fruity smell coming out of it. It's more like a berry kind of smell. Okay, yeah, great. So checking all the boxes, let's go ahead and wet our lips on this, see what we've got. Prost. Yeah, so front of the tongue, pretty much carrying over that aroma, that very nice light toastiness, some of the crackery notes. Yeah, so I don't know if any of y'all grew up in the kitchen with your mom, make a lot of baked goods, but I remember my mom would sometimes, if she was making pie crust, she'd make like pie crust cookies. And it's a very basic cookie. It's essentially like pie crust that's been baked, and you can sprinkle some sugar on it. This reminds me of that. Not so much the sweetness, but there's a very clean, floury baked quality to this a bit. That, yeah, it carries a little bit of that kind of caramelization taste, but again, it's very, very light. There is some of that subtle, slightly fruity sweetness coming through around the middle of the tongue a bit. I don't know how much of that might be the carryover of some of that berry smell that I got, but there's definitely something there. And I mean, it's obviously the malt, but at the same time, it doesn't have like a cookie or a burnt sugar or caramely kind of taste to it. There is a bit of a fruity note to the sweetness. Yeah. Almost getting nothing on the back end of the tongue, which is interesting because I was wanting to comment on the finish, but it's really past the middle of the tongue and around the sides of my mouth. I'm getting some of that bitterness. The hops are doing their deal to make this not so sweet, providing that balancing bitterness, but not really much happening on the back of the tongue. So there's a very slight lingering flavor, but yeah, not too much going on. But again, par for the course. I mean, the mouthfeel is exactly like I would expect for a lager. It's very, very light on the mouth. Enough weight where it feels like I'm drinking something, but very effervescent, very bubbly. So it's coming in hot and it's going away, pretty quietly once I take a sip. Yeah, that's the more I'm drinking, I mean, it's warming up a little bit now, but yeah, the more I'm drinking it, there is a very, I don't know, I don't want to like use a big scary word like aberrant, but it is kind of this very strange cloyed sweetness coming out that, again, there's no adjuncts in this, so I know it's not fruit or anything. I know it is from the malt, but at the same time, it's not a malty sweetness, if that makes sense. It almost tastes like there's a small bit of a fruity quality in this. I'm going to be honest, the more I'm drinking it, the less I'm liking it, actually. Um, that putting forth the disclaimer that I said at the beginning of the video, I really, really like Märzen's. They're a style that I potentially go out of my way to drink, so I've had a lot of them. I'm someone that likes Märzen's like this to almost have just a straight, like, tasting like a piece of just really, really brown toast with some hop bitterness on it, being very crisp. The drier the better, and typically if there is some sweetness, yeah, that's to be expected, but this is almost, it's kind of like if you ever went to like a big party, like let's say it's like a party that, you know, your buddy's been hosting these at the same time like every couple months, and at that point you pretty much know without him even telling you who's going to kind of be there, like the usual suspects. This is like showing up to that party after you've gone countless times, and there's always that one dude he's not making a scene. No one's really talking about him, but you clearly can see him kind of bop around the kitchen. He randomly appears on the porch, like talking with people, and you're not really sure kind of what he's doing there. Like, he's initially not, you know, off-putting, but the more he's there, there's kind of a sense of uneasiness because you're kind of like, what is his purpose? Like, how did he get here? And it's unexplained. That's kind of what I'm getting from this sweetness. It's like, it's not necessarily like ruining this beer, but yeah, I just can't really put my finger on it. There's just something. It's like something just right of the decimal point additional that's just doing something to this that's really making it a gratifying beer. And I hate to say that because I love Sierra Nevada's stuff and I love Märzen's, but yeah, I don't know. This just isn't really doing it for me in terms of what I would be wanting from a Märzen. I mean, there's enough here where it's like I could look at it, smell it, and probably make an educated guess that it's a Märzen. But man, once I drink it, I mean, to me, there's enough of this weird, you know, cameo of flavor going on that it would kind of make me stop and wonder exactly. So, yeah, I guess just to close it out and not make this too much longer of a video, because I mean, you've been basically watching me thinking out loud right now. I'm not gonna recommend this beer this year. And that pains me because, again, for the reasons I just previously explained, I have loved pretty much just about every year that Sierra Nevada has done this. There's something off about this year's variant of it. So yeah, I would just tell, like, if you're able to like get a free one, if you're at a party, someone offers it to you, you'll be able to drink it. You know, it's not a disgusting beer, and if you're someone that doesn't really care much at all about Märzen's, you might drink it and not notice anything at all. But someone like me, again, who is really, really discerning about Märzen's and drinks them as much as I can, I honestly say I would not go and buy this beer again. So there's too many other good ones out there, and this one's just not, you know, it's not wanting me to round first and going to second, if you will. So yeah, without saying too much else, everyone, I'd say that's pretty much going to be it. If you've had Sierra Nevada's Oktoberfest in the past, please Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think about it. If you've had this year's variant, tell me what you think. Do you think I'm completely off base, or do you have your own thoughts on the style? And as always, if you want the most recent updates on when the next Bitter Upper Lip review is going to come around, be sure to hit that notification bell and you will know as soon as it goes live. So until next time, everyone, as always, remember to keep your mind clear, your heart pure, and your upper lip bitter. We'll see you then.